Hello everyone and welcome. My name's Graham. I'm here representing Long McQuade and we're here with Justin and Mike Murray to demo, and we're going to talk all Fender, all the time, all day. We're going to talk about all the great exclusive offers, great products, stuff that's new. Also with us, you can finance for 12 months, 0% for any product that's over $1,000. You can finance for 6 months for any product under $1,000. So really great deals going on. We also have two contests that we hope you'll be a part of. The first one is where we pit two guitars against each other. Vote for your favorite one for a chance to win that one. More details on our page. And lastly, an online contest. Simply just send us an email to fender21@long-mcquade.com. Include your full name and the nearest Long McQuade address for a chance to win. So first off here, we have the Fender American Pro 2 Stratocaster, and this is roasted pine, so they're trying some new things here. Really, really beautiful finish. It's got some really nice details on it. In the back, it's got this beautiful contouring on the neck heel to make it easier to access these lower frets here. It's got the Fender V-Mod 2 pickups, which feature magnets that are specific to each string, so you get the maximized quality out of each individual string. It's also got this new thing called the push knob, which is right here. You push it in, and it activates this neck pickup. So what that allows you to do is get some telly sounds by having the bridge and the neck pickup. And you can also do that Brian May thing by having all three pickups on at the same time by having that on. So let's hear a little demo of this. See what it sounds like by Mike Murray.
Yeah. Thank you. Let's check it out. So the pine is cool. Like, is this a new thing for this year that they're doing? Like just this year for pine, or have they been doing this for a while?
They've done a few models in pine, but this is like the first like streamlined model where you can
Gotcha.
buy a few of them.
Well, let's check it out, shall we? There, but it sounds great. Let's check out the neck and middle. That sounds great. So what else we got? We got the middle pickup. That sounds great for that sort of thing. Very like lots of like. It's great. It's got really good bite. Like, it sounds fantastic. Go back, bridge and middle, right? Yeah. One thing I always like to do, I like to compare the bridge and middle on these to the neck and middle. They both have that out of phase thing, but they sit a little different. It sounds great. And then the bridge. Yeah, I love it. This thing sounds great. And I guess we should probably
just see if
try
we can get
this.
some telly sounds.
So let's see. That's yeah. That sounds awesome. That sounds fantastic. And then this is all three, right?
That's all three.
That's all three. Okay, let's check it out. Yeah, it's got a little like of a more mellow thing going on. It's very cool. Yeah. Should I try it with some of the other gear that we have here? Maybe.
Sure, yeah. So we're, thank you for that, Mike. That was awesome. So we're going to talk a little bit about the rig that Mike's using over there. So we have the Fender 68 Custom Vibrochamp Reverb. This is kind of a reissue, but also kind of not, of the old Vibrochamps from the sort of late 60s into the 70s. So it's got the silver face panel. It has the 69 drip edge, kind of look to it. It is 5 watts, as all good champs are. So single 6v6 in the output stage. You still get the tube tremolo, which was the feature on the Vibrochamp specifically. But what you also get on this one is a digital reverb that they built in. So it's more of a sort of all-purpose, all-encompassing, Fender amp, which typically have reverb and tremolo built in. Now, this is a digital reverb. It is a Hall algorithm, and it sounds pretty good. We'll get Mike to demo that in a second. The other cool upgrade they gave this one is a 10-inch speaker. Anybody who has had a Fender Champ in the past, this is a huge deal. Normally they come with like 6-inch or 8-inch speakers. 10-inch speaker fills out that bottom end way, way more. It's less ratty sounding when you get it going, as you'll hear from Mike. So Mike's gonna crank it up to 10, as all good champs should be cranked, and he's gonna let you hear it.
Let's do it. Okay, on 10, bridge pickup. That sounds great. And then the neck pickup. It's almost got like the fuzzy thing going on. It's so great. It sounds so awesome. Fantastic cleanup. I almost like that clean sound better with it cranked and the guitar dialed back. That's awesome. Should we go through like some of the effects maybe?
Sure, yeah, why don't you show them what the reverb's all about?
Yeah, so the reverb, I don't know, let's put it on like 3 to start. It's quite long actually. It goes for a while, so maybe dial it down a bit more than that. Stays like a very subtle amount. Turn it up a bit more, like, I don't know, 4 or 5. Wow. So if I go to like lawn trails, really cool. And we got the tube tremolo, right?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, let's try it out. Like speeds at like 4. Let's do speed and intensity both on 4. Will do like that's almost a full chop, right?
Yeah,
or does it go, do we know if it goes all the way to 0? That sounds great.
So it doesn't go all the way to 0. This is a really unique circuit that's unique to tube tremolos, tube-driven tremolos. That basically what they're doing is they're shutting the output tube on and off as you're playing. So it
cool.
sounds a little bit more like a triangle wave or sine wave as opposed to a hard square wave chop that you get on like a deluxe reverb or something like that.
Is that different from the way that they were made back in the day?
No, that's very much how the original Vibra Champ was made. Is the sort of tube-driven oscillator that will shut the output tube on and off. What you find is, and I forget the exact name of the part in the circuit, but on a lot of the bigger amps, the Deluxes, the Supers, and definitely the Twins, is you had, I think, a light and a photoresistor that would basically govern the cutoff, and it was in a different part of the circuit, so it sounded a lot more abrupt, whereas this is a lot smoother sounding overall, and a little bit more vintage sounding, I find.
Yeah, it's got a great vibe. Like this is intensity on 10, speed on 5. It's totally usable. Sounds fantastic. Like awesome.
Very cool.
Very
Great.
cool.
So just to recap, the differences between this from like an old vintage one is they've added the spring reverb. They've given it a bigger speaker. Is there anything else that they have added on to it?
I mean, that's the bigger speaker and the reverb are definitely the big ones. Other than that, it's a pretty faithful recreation of the original Vibra Champ, which has gone has been sorely missed from the Fender catalog for many years. Yeah,
Nice.
Sounds great.
cool.
Awesome. Should we check out these pedals maybe?
We should definitely check out those pedals.
All right, let's
Good
do
thing
it.
you mentioned that, Mike.
Let's do it.
So first up, we have the Fender MTG LA Tube Distortion. Now, this is a pedal that was recently released by Fender. It actually is a tube distortion. there is literally a subminiature tube built into the pedal. Subminiature being, I mean, most of you folks out there have seen like, you know, preamp tubes or whatever. They're probably about that big, like a couple inches tall. These are even smaller. These were used in military gear. So the old style computers that still needed tubes, things that were in, you know, control panels, sometimes in military hardware on the ground, things like planes and tanks, I guess. But they're designed to withstand basically battlefield conditions, so they're super, super durable. It is totally okay to put one of those in the pedal. And thank goodness it is, because it sounds great.
So since it's got that subminiature little tube in it, how does the sound differ from using like, you know, like a regular 12AX7 or something that you may find more commonly in like amps, for example?
Well, it's going to be a different sound either way. The one that they have in here is a 6205. It's a new old stock tube, so they haven't made these for decades. These were, like I said, built for old military hardware. So it's a pentode, which is a totally different design than a dual triode that you'd find in, you know, like a 12AX7 or an AT7 or something like that. So it will sound different, but it sounds in this circuit more like a tube amp just absolutely breaking up and freaking out. And the other thing to note on here that you don't find on a lot of these tube-powered pedals is that there's actually an internal charge pump which runs it at, I think it's something like 50-something volts, which is the proper voltage to be fed to a tube. And it's not just running off of 9, even though the pedal runs off 9 volts, it's bumping that voltage up so that the tube can actually use it.
I was going to ask that. I think this is the first tube pedal I've seen that can run off a standard power supply.
Yeah, exactly.
Very
so
cool.
It takes care of that all internally, so it just fits in with the rest of your, you know, your pedal board rig.
Fantastic.
The last thing I want to mention, Mike, before you get going on that, is it does have a boost switch, which is super cool. It is pre-distortion, so you can just hit that distortion circuit as hard as you want with that. Now, the pedal has to be engaged in order to use the boost. It's not a totally independent thing, but Mike's going to show you what that sounds like.
Check it out.
Let's hear it.
No boost, and if we put the boost in for some extra... Also cleans up great. That's probably the tube, I would imagine, right? So that's with the gain fairly high and the boost on it. It's still... Yeah, it sounds great, and it sounds super clear for chords too. Like, great. Awesome.
Very cool. And another thing that you guys are missing out on, unfortunately, I got another one back here, so I'm going to show you this. But these little markers on the pedal, on the knobs rather, these actually light up when it's plugged in, so you can actually see where they're pointing on stage. Super, super helpful. Unfortunately, you guys can't see that here, but that's another reason to go visit your local Long McQuade store. And the last thing that we're going to talk about before we get back to some guitars is what's powering the pedal itself, and that's this thing, the Fender Level 8 engine room pedal, power supply. So this gives you 8 isolated outputs. So what does that mean, isolated outputs? It means that each output has its own grounding source, which means that there's going to be no noise bleeding on the power line to each of the pedals that are plugged into this. There are also high current outputs. Each one of them is 500 milliamps, so you can even run like complex digital pedals off of something like this. Here's another interesting thing that I haven't seen on a whole lot of power supplies is the USB-A, Type A, and Type C outputs. So the obvious choice for this is like, yeah, you can charge your phone while you're playing guitar, but what it's also really useful for is things like iPads, right? So if you have like lyric sheets or sheet music or whatever on your iPad, you can be powering it off this and, you know, not have to worry about your battery on the iPad going dead, or any other tablet for that matter. Mm-hmm. The other thing that's really cool about this is you can use it for, creatively for some other sort of non-conventional effects processors. For myself, there's a product called the Korg Nt1, which is a digital effects engine that has all sorts of cool reverbs, delays, modulation stuff built into it. But the problem is it's powered by USB only. So utilizing it with this in conjunction with other, traditional pedals, you can totally do that with the level 8 engine room from Fender.
Oh. Another cool thing about that is it comes at a pretty affordable and competitive price at $259.99, which is totally competitive with other things that are on the market. Yeah, the amazing amount of outputs that you got on it, it's a really, really solid deal.
Absolutely, yeah. Cool.
All right, so let's move on to a guitar.
All right. All right, so this right here is the Fender 75th anniversary commemorative Telecaster in a gorgeous bourbon burst finish. This is pretty much, for the most part, the spec that you're going to find on like an American Pro 2 in terms of like the cutaway in the neck heel, the rolled edges on the fingerboard, things like that. But what's really, really cool about this particular model is they've used ash wood, which is such a rarity on Fenders nowadays. Ash is becoming very, very hard to find. So companies like Fender are switching to using pine. So there you go, Mike.
Yep,
that's why they're using pine. Yeah, there you go. So these ones are still going to be built with ash wood, which is going to give you just that classic brightness and the classic spank that we all know from, the 50s Telecasters. This has a deep C maple neck. It has custom shop twisted telly pickups, which is also really cool. So what you're getting here is a low output neck pickup and a high output bridge pickup. And I mean, let's face it, everybody loves a high output bridge pickup in a Telecaster, right? That's what we all live for. It does have the compensated brass saddles. It has a little bit of a cutaway on the ashtray bridge, which you can't see too clearly, but if you've ever played a Telecaster, a lot of them have these sort of edges on the bridge that come up, and some people don't find them quite comfortable. Some people say it blocks their pick. No such problem on this one. And it just looks gorgeous with the gold hardware and everything. Locking tuners, this thing's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like the Ultimate Players Telecaster. It's like they've taken something that's a classic and they've just made it a little bit better by adding all those different appointments. And I think also on the back of it, there's you get this cool 75th anniversary inlay near the neck.
Oh, yeah, that too.
That's super, super cool. You'll only see that on these exclusive models. So get them while they're hot at Long McQuade, and let's hear what it sounds like.
I'm going to pass it over to Mike.
Thank you, thank you. Mm-hmm. All right, let's check this thing out. I think the first guitar I ever owned was an Ash Stratocaster, actually.
Nice.
So I don't think I've played one since, to be honest. Yeah, the next pickup sounds good. Let's check out this hot bridge pickup, though. That's what we're
Do it,
for, right?
yeah.
So that's the amp on 5. But it sounds great. And then I'm going to crank it a bit. Let's see what the amp sounds like. That sounds so good. Let's back it off a bit more, maybe like 7, I guess, and let's see. That bridge pickup a lot. That sounds great. And let's check out the neck maybe a bit more, see what we got here. You can hear the difference big difference in the output, and you can feel it for sure. Yeah, it sounds great. And of course, we got to do the middle pickup. It sounds really cool with the super high output bridge pickup and balancing with it. It's great. I don't know. It sounds great. Anything else you guys want to hear on this thing?
I think it's a pretty good demo. I like how, like you mentioned, it's pretty interesting that it's so balanced when you have like a high output on the bottom and like a lower output on the top. I don't know how they've done it, but it works really, really well in this instrument.
Yeah, like I don't think we lost a lot of volume. It changes the character for sure, but like they don't feel mismatched at all. So yeah, really, really great.
Nice.
I like it a lot.
Right.
Cool.
Well, we're going to move on to Bassland, and within the 75th anniversary, we have the Fender 75th anniversary Jbase. Now this features a rosewood fretboard here. It's got a one-piece maple neck that has a slim C profile, super comfortable to play. It's got the satin finish on the neck, as opposed to high gloss, so your hand's not sticking as you go up and down it. Like the rest of the 75th anniversary models, it's got the cutaways, it's got the heel contour, make it even more comfortable to play up the frets. It's got the custom 60s Jbase pickup in here, so you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. It's got the high mass bridge here, and it's got, of course, the gold ingot inlay here on the headstock that only comes on these exclusive models. Yeah, kind of just like the Telly, it's a classic instrument with high-end appointments just to make it a little bit better. Let's hear what it sounds like.
Let's check it out.
So on that one, Graham, that one has, is that the Ashwood as well on that one?
That is Ashwood as well on that one.
All right, let's see. Dial in here. It's very satisfying. It's the neck pickup, right? I think we'll switch to the bridge. Sounds great to me. Like, try them both. Wrap it all up. Awesome, sounds great. Now there's one thing. I have a bass player friend of mine. He found out I was doing this. He insisted I try something with the pick. So
Let's try it. Let's hear it.
Let's try something
to
with
the
the
purists
pick.
out there, but here we go. Yeah, feels great to me. I also like the neck feels great. Like the finish on the neck does feel really, really good. Awesome. Yeah, it sounds awesome. Really great. All the 75th anniversary stuff so far is fantastic.
Cool.
Nice. So just to recap, both the Jbase and the Telly, the 75th anniversaries in the Bourbon Burst, those are both US, all-American made instruments. So they're the top of the line kind of thing, and they are actually doing another line as well for their Mexican models of the 75th anniversary at a little bit of a lower price point. These ones are at $1,099.99. And as an example of one of them, we have our silver Fender 75th anniversary Strat. And you'll notice right away, one of the coolest things about this, it's got a matching headstock. You barely see that anymore, and I think it's really, really, really sharp. Not a lot of people these days have the matching headstock. Yeah, so this is their diamond anniversary. It's also got the C profile on the neck for a comfortable play. Medium jumbo frets. And a vintage 60s style pickup. So they're going to be a little bit hotter sounding than like a typical 50s pickup. So you can play all your rock and roll. 2-point trim, and of course, the 75th anniversary neck plate. This is a perfect guitar for any gigging musician, any player. It's a really high quality instrument at a good price point. Mike, you want to give us a little demo?
Let's check it out. More Strats. I will never say no to more Strats. Let's see what we got here. And this is alder. Am I right?
Alder body.
That is an alder
like the
body.
standard. Yeah, that makes sense. You can actually. There's a bit of a weight difference. Am I right to say that the pine's a little bit lighter?
The pine is lighter.
It definitely feels lighter. But yeah, I'll do some of the same stuff I did before. Try the neck and middle. Middle by itself. Middle and bridge. Let's check that out. And the bridge by itself. Now, I've been hitting these all pretty hard, but like you can get, you're surprised, like, you get some pretty nice clean tones out of that bridge pickup too. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I feel the immediacy of those 60s pickups like, right away.
It's definitely tighter sounding than the pine one. It's just a little bit more like I can hear this fitting in a mix with a little bit less massaging.
Yeah, it's very
than the pine
like
one. Yeah,
focused maybe is a good word for it.
Definitely.
Let's throw the distortion pedal on and let's check it out a bit with that. Yeah, sounds great. This thing rocks. And
that pedal is just something else.
you can feel that in the room.
It feels like it sounds like it's dying. I love it.
It's awesome. Yeah, this thing's great too. And actually, you know what? One thing I noticed about this, like, it doesn't feel that different from the other ones. You know, like it's you can definitely tell the difference with the with the pine Strat we did earlier. But this is a Mexican one, right?
Mm-hmm. It's a Mexican one, yeah.
Yeah, they're great. They're really, really good. Sounds great, plays great, feels great. Awesome.
Yeah. To my ear, that sounds a little bit like the mids are scooped a little bit on that, as opposed to the pine, which was a little bit more like all frequencies.
A little fuller.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm hearing on as a like sonic difference between this one and the other 75th anniversary.
Yeah, they're both great though. Like I love them both. This thing, and of course the silver sparkle and all that. This thing looks great.
The matching headstock.
I am a big fan of the
You can't beat
headstock.
it.
I am a fan of the matching headstock. It does look good. But yeah, great.
Awesome.
Cool. Mike. So on that note, we have a matching bass. This is the 75th anniversary precision bass. This is largely going to be the same kind of specs as the Stratocaster. This is Mexican made. This is from the Player Series line. So what you get here, again, is the alder body. You get a maple neck on this, which, I mean, I personally like. I like brighter sounding basses. I know there's a lot of bass players that agree with me. You know, if you want it darker, that's what the tone control is for. But, you know, just the maple neck just gives it so much pop and so much definition, especially in a mix. You get the 75th anniversary neck plate on there. And of course, this is the best part, the icing on the cake, is the matching headstock, which is awesome. You get a 50s style pickup. On this, these, you know, precision bass pickups are so, you know, they're so basic, but that's kind of what makes them work, right? There's not a huge amount of flavor that you get, like variety, I mean, in terms of like the sound and the build and everything. They're all pretty standard stuff, which is to say they all sound good. You know what I mean? And And that's exactly what's in here. This is a bass that is built to rock. So
what kind of things would you expect to hear out of like this 50s style voicing of a P bass pickup, as opposed to like maybe your regular player model that's not a 50s style?
Well, I think that's a good question. I think there's so many differences between the materials that the sort of the 50s and the 60s one were built with. In the 60s, you had the rosewood neck coming in, which in my mind makes a bit more of a difference. In the 50s, I'm pretty sure they had the flat pole pickups, so everything was uniform, which I don't know if you guys can see that. The pickup pole pieces are all the same height. In the 60s, I believe they raised the A string because I think the A string has less volume compared to the E or the D string, something like that. But I mean, other than that, it's still Alnico 5 magnets. It's still a moderate whine for a bass pickup. I think 10 or 12 or 11K or whatever it is. But I mean, that's really the point of the P bass is no matter what it's made of, no matter what pickup it has or whatever, it always sounds good. It always, like, you don't necessarily need a bass with like tons of pickups and tons of knobs and active EQs and this and that. That's cool, but I mean, the P bass has been around forever for a reason. And Mike's going to show you why.
Let's check it out. Yeah, I got to get me one of these. The only bass I have is a 5-string with an active preamp and all these different options and all that stuff, right? It's nice to have both. So let's check it out a bit. There's that P bass thing, right?
Yeah.
Let's grab the pick a bit. Sounds nice up here, actually. Good bass for a guitarist.
Yeah.
sounds good up there.
We need more bass vibrato. That's what we need.
Yeah, we need more of that in our lives, right? Let's try darkening this a bit and let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, sounds great. Both of these, actually both this and the other one, they're like super clear, super pop, like they're really like pop out with the maple neck.
Yeah, there's definition in the notes.
It sounds great. Really, really clear. I wonder actually, you can hear it. It's a major 7 shell voicing for you on a bass. That's super clear. That sounds great. Yeah, I love it. Awesome.
Nice. So to keep with the theme, although this is a little bit different than the other one, we have still the matching headstock. This is the Fender Vintera 60s Strat in Olympic white with an Olympic white headstock. So cool. This is possibly my favorite looking Strat of the bunch that we have here. It's got this beautiful tortoiseshell pickguard. It's got that like kind of like creamy white color both here and on the headstock. Wonderful. As the previous one, it's got an alder body. This has the 60s style single coils as well. However, these are voiced hotter than the previous ones. So what that means is that you're going to get more output out of this. It's going to push your amp a little bit more when you're playing, or your effects chain if that's what you have set up. Similar to the other ones, modern C neck, satin finish. Again, this is a 9.5 radius, so really easy to play, super comfortable up and down the neck. And as another really cool feature, if you're looking for something to kind of function similar to the roasted pine Strat that we had on, this actually has an S1 switch as well, which adds the neck as well to it to get those telly sounds. 2-point trim, comes with a gig bag. Let's hear what it sounds like.
Let's check it out. Even hotter than the last one.
Even hotter!
Keep dialing it up. All right. I should clarify, I'm setting the amp volume to the same thing for all of these. So it's all consistent, everything's the same. You're hearing the guitars. More of the same sort of stuff. You can feel it right away. Check neck and middle. Pickup by itself. That's turned down. There we go. Let's do bridge and middle. Bridge by itself. Yeah, nice and stingy, but like not to like take your head off with the thing. But of course, if it's the high output one. Definitely nice, and a bit of neck pick. Less bass than the last one, I think, but not in a bad way, in a focused way. So it sounds. This is definitely the hottest one. This is definitely the
Those
highest.
pickups are definitely hotter.
That is definitely hotter, and they're like,
way.
I think they're further backed off from the strings than they were on the other ones too. So like,
They may be, yeah.
You could get like even more output out of this, I think, if you wanted it. Yeah, this thing rocks as well, and yeah, they all feel good. They all sound great. Like, you know, pick your Strat. Awesome.
And I apologize. I think they're actually on this particular model. There is not the S1 switch.
Oh yes, I don't.
I
see
have
it.
made a mistake, but still sounds great.
I love it. I think it's great. This would be like your Malmsteen Strat, I think. Like if you want, you know, people who play like hard rock on single coil guitars. I
Yeah.
think this would sound great.
Works really, really well with distortion, as you just heard.
Yeah.
Really good on a dimed amp. Just a beautiful, beautiful instrument that they've made at an affordable price.
Yeah, fantastic.
Now, it should also be said that this guitar is unique to Long McQuade.
Wow.
This is a special edition just for us in the, I guess that's Olympic white, or is that Arctic white?
Olympic white.
Olympic white.
Yeah.
On that with the matching headstock. So you're only going to find this at Long McQuade.
That's
so you
right.
should definitely head down to the store, head over to the website, buy these, buy some for your aunts and your uncles and your nephews. Just buy them all.
Buy a matching pair with matching headstock.
There you go. All right. So, Mike, I'm going to need your assistance on this because the next item we're going to talk about is the Mustang Micro, which is over by Mike. We have it all hooked up.
Should I use this? I may as well use this guitar.
Yeah, you can continue using that.
Sounds good to me.
So, this is a product that hit the market, I want to say a little while ago. Before you hook it up, Mike, do you want to show the
Yes.
camera what it looks like?
Check this
It
out.
is, yeah, it's super tiny. We can't get any closer than that, but basically it's a little headphone amp that plugs directly into your guitar. Kind of like the Vox amp plug, but this thing is loaded with features. This is all digital, by the way. It has 12 amp models, each with an adjustable EQ. It has 12 effects models with modifiers, so you can, I guess, adjust the rate of like the tremolo or the depth of the chorus or what have you. It has an internal battery that recharges via USB, which is awesome. But speaking of USB, it has a USB-C port on it. So the Type-C, the little small one that comes on most phones and your MacBooks and everything. Now, what this port does, apart from charging the battery, is really interesting. This can function as an audio interface. So you can record directly to your computer or your iPad or whatever, just connecting the Mustang Micro directly to the computer. This is huge.
That's
this
amazing.
is super huge, yeah. A lot of digital amps, you'll find like the Fender, the Mustang LT25 or the Marshall Code or whatever else is out there, they have USB ports on them which is all well and good, but to find an audio interface on something this small that's meant for like really practicing is super, super cool. The other port that's on there is a headphone port. It is wired headphones only. It doesn't do wireless headphones, unfortunately, but that's cool. It's all good. It does have Bluetooth input. So you can stream music to it from your phone or from wherever and jam along with it. It is super, super awesome. And Mike's going to show you how super awesome it can be.
Let's check it out. And I'm hearing it through the headphone mix on this as well. So this is a good example of how you might actually use it. Yeah, it sounds like really clean. It's good. Kind of a ludicrous amount of features packed into this tiny thing. And another thing, just from a player's perspective, you know, playing plugged in is not the same as playing unplugged, right? Mm-hmm. Like it does feel different. It does behave differently. So having like some sort of practice tool like this is great. And especially as we all start leaving our houses a little bit more, it's probably a good idea to have something we can carry around. But yeah, I think it sounds great. And can't believe how small it is.
Yeah, at $140, you know, having the perfect little micro amp to plug into to practice with is awesome, and the fact that you can record on it as well, like, come on, that is, you're getting ultimate value for something in such a small package. So, Fender coming up with some really, really great stuff.
Very cool.
So, not only Fender, but Squire by Fender is also coming out with some really, really cool stuff. We have here one of my favorite colors, a burgundy mist affinity Jazzmaster. You don't see this color every day. It's really, really beautiful, really unique. It's kind of got this metallic-y purple kind of finish. Very lightweight for the size. It looks like it's a little bit big, but it's actually very, very light. Like the other Fender stuff, it's got a C-shaped neck on it to make it nice and easy to play. It's got the single coil Jazzmaster pickups, which are kind of like a thinner sounding single coil. And yeah, it's just a very, really solid player's instrument. This is at the affordable price of $369.99. So it's not going to bust the bank. You get something that looks really cool and can function as well.
Could you want to talk about that bridge there, Graham? Because that's kind of unusual for a Jazzmaster.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You may not notice, but this actually has a 2-point trem on the bridge. Which isn't as popular in the Jazzmaster. I think they had the other like roller style bridges before, which are cool. Sometimes you can run into some intonation issues with them, but not so with this one. This one you can do all your trem bends and all your exciting things with it. You can get back in tune. It kind of functions in a similar way as a Strat, but with a Jazzmaster sound. So, Mike, would you mind to
I would not mind at all.
Let us hear?
I love these things, and the Jazzmaster with a Strat style bridge is like, I'm in heaven. So let's check it out. Oh yeah. Pickup. Now, it's probably worth noting too, this one doesn't have all the extra Jazzmaster switches and stuff, right? It's very, very straightforward, which to me,
minimalist for a Jazzmaster.
Yeah, but to me that's a good thing. I like those. I like using those switches too. But like, there's something great about being able to plug it in and get that Jazzmaster feel if you don't necessarily want or need all the other stuff, right?
Yeah, something to be said about the simplicity of just having that three switch toggle switch on it rather than having the buttons.
It's great.
Yeah.
Let's check out the neck and middle together. Always a great sound on these. I don't know, you call it bell-like? What would you call that sort of attack on these?
Plunk to it.
Yeah.
Get that awesome.
I love that. That's great. Bridge pickup. The least trebly of Fender's bridge pickups. Is that like fair to say on the Jazzmaster? Like I've always
This
found
one
these,
for sure, yeah.
I've always found, I think this one especially, I've always found them like very sweet sounding bridge pickups on these things. But of course, let's see if we can change that. Cut that off. That sounds
man,
great.
So much sustain. And you know,
I love this thing.
we've said it about the other guitars, and I think one of the things that Fender has done really well is really perfect the voicings of the pickups, because to my ear, like so far, all of these pickups have sat in a sonic range that is going to sit well in a mix, is going to sit well with the band. Which is really, really incredible at every price point. To have an instrument that can function that way is awesome.
Yeah, I wouldn't change any of these. Yeah. I wouldn't change any of these pickups. They're all fantastic.
What always amazes me about Fender too is how they essentially have the same formula for every guitar, right? Bolt-on maple neck and an alder body or an ash body, and they're different shapes and slightly different pickups, but they've just got so much unique personality to it. Like that Jazzmaster doesn't sound like anything else that we played. No. Strats can sound similar. Some are hotter, some are gentler and whatever.
Right.
But like this Jazzmaster just sounds like nothing else on the table so far.
It feels different too. Like
yeah.
There's like even without the Jazzmaster bridge, like there's a difference to the string tension, like the way it sits on the thing, like the way it sits on your body. So I'm tall, I've got long arms. I really love the way Jazzmasters sit. Everything feels very like left, I guess, if that makes sense. But like for me, I really, really love it. And actually, I didn't even realize when Graham was holding it, I didn't even notice that they have like the Strat style bridge. I think this thing is phenomenal.
Yep.
This is great. Yeah.
Beautiful,
really guitar.
functional guitar at an affordable price.
I agree on the finish, by the way. This is like
it's awesome,
it's
right?
One of my favorite
Burgundy
finishes.
Mist,
Burgundy
man.
Mist.
Bring that back, please.
It's so
Do
great.
more.
More Burgundy Mist.
Awesome. Yeah, love this thing.
All right. So next one we got up next is the Squire Fsr. Where is it? FSR Bullet Mustang HH. FSR meaning Fender Special Run. So this is typically stuff from their normal lineup that they do like special finishes on, or different color combinations with the pickguard and the body and everything. This has the competition stripe. This is one of
right.
this is see Mike knows.
Yep.
This is one of those things that Fender like. You guys got to do more of this. Matching headstocks, competition stripes on everything. This is awesome. This makes it look so cool. And of course, it makes you go faster.
It does.
Yes,
And
right.
come on, gold and black.
Right?
Such
like
a good
that's
combination.
a great combination right there.
Beautiful.
So, let's get down to the personality of the guitar, not just go by looks, because we're not that shallow here. So this is a Fender Mustang. This has the Mustang guitar, I should say. This has 2 humbuckers in it, which is kind of unusual for Fender. Fender is more of like a single coil kind of party. But they went with the humbuckers. They want a more rockin' sound for this. Totally cool. I am on board with that. The interesting thing about this guitar is that it has a shorter scale length. So what do I mean by scale length? Scale length is the distance, I'm going to try to show you on the monitor here, the distance between the bridge and the nut. So Fenders have a distance of 25.5 inches. That's pretty much standard across all their stuff, except for the odd model here and there. This is on their guitars. On the Mustang, you get a 24-inch scale, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it changes the feel of the guitar entirely. This is more like the scale length you would find on a Gibson product. The frets will be slightly closer together. It'll have a slinkier feel. It'll be a little bit looser. The strings, just because they're not stretched out as far. This coupled with the humbuckers is going to give it a really kind of like raw, sort of loose, bendy, rock and roll kind of feel to it. So at $259, this is a great starter guitar, especially for like smaller like kids and stuff like that, because the frets are closer together. But also, this is a great second guitar if you're a Fender person who loves their single coils and doesn't necessarily want to splash out on its, like a expensive dual humbucker guitar to get a different sound. This right here is your ticket. This is awesome.
Let's do it. Rock and roll. So this thing is clearly wanting to be a rock and roll machine. So let's just get straight to the rock with this
Mike,
one.
because of the racing stripe, we're going to ask you to go faster.
I will try and go a little bit faster. So yeah, it rocks. Like, moral of the story. It rocks. It rocks really well. Let's try the neck pickup with this sound. It sounds great, and yeah, the scale length, I find it changes the way I think and play. I don't know about you guys, but like, there's something different when you're playing something with a shorter scale. It feels like it wouldn't make that much of a difference because it's so small, but I always notice that I play differently and I sound different on shorter scale guitars. So yeah, it's definitely worth checking out if you've only ever played like the longer scale Fenders and stuff like that. There's one more thing about guitars like this though that you might not expect. These small, light, thin body rock machines, for lack of a better word, actually do a really nice jazz tone.
Oh, yeah.
And there's think like Ed Bickert on the Telecaster or some of that. Like, check this out. Just big and warm, and yeah, it's not what you would expect. The racing stripe maybe not the jazziest thing in the world, but yeah, it's really great jazz tone, and for the price, I think this is again great. Like, what did you say it was? $249?
It is.
It is. Let's find out.
Let's find out. It's
$259.
That's still not bad. No, that's great. Honestly, that's a great price for something like this. It's super comfortable. I like it a lot, and it's like the small body. It would be kind of nice to carry around something this small.
Yeah,
totally.
You have on stage, not bumping around with everyone on stage.
Yeah. No, it's. Yeah, I'm into this one too. I've seen these forever. I've never actually tried one, so
There you
I
go.
like it a lot. Great.
Yeah, I love how Squire's just doing all these really cool models. They look unique, they sound great, they're super affordable. On that same note, Squire has one of my favorite Squires to say, the Squire Esquire. Squire, say that 10 times fast. Squire. This is a pure-blooded rock machine. The Esquire is a Telecaster that features the single bridge pickup, which if you know Jeff Beck, his first guitar was an Esquire. I think he was playing with the birds.
Yardbirds.
Yardbirds, that's it. The yard.
Some sort of bird.
Some kind of bird. So it's that kind of guitar. But don't let that fool you. Just because it has one pickup doesn't mean you can't get a lot of different tones. And you might be surprised at how dynamic and how many different kinds of sounds and feel that you can get just from the single pickup. This, like the other one, has a C-shaped neck profile. Now it's got a gloss finish on the neck, which is a little bit different than the other one, but really, really great look. You can tell by the double binding on here, and I personally love a double binding on a Telecaster. It just makes it look so classy. Kind of reminds me of a tuxedo almost, like you're playing like super schnazzy
Absolutely.
kind of tuxedo guitar. It's got narrow and tall frets, so a little bit different than the medium jumbos. Indian laurel fretboard. This single coil is actually it's an Alamo magnet, so the stuff that all the good pickups are made of. Now this switch is interesting because you get 3 different unique tones from it. In both this bridge position and the top position, it takes out the tone knob, but one is like the darker tone, and the other one is like the brighter, bitier tone. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on in the circuitry. I imagine there's maybe like a capacitor in this position, and then this is just full-blown, simple, straight from volume pickup to the output here. 9.5 radius, and it's got the chrome barrel saddles. Lovely, lovely guitar. And Mike, would you mind to show us the versatility of this Squire? Squire?
All right, so yeah, this thing is kind of cool. So when I was younger, actually, and I was learning about guitars, I saw these and I would see Esquires and I would see the switch and I'd be like, why is the switch there? There's only one pickup. Right. But later on in life, I realized it does actually make a difference. So, for example, yeah, so you can see there's the tone knob. That's the rawest, loudest, punchiest sound you'll get out of a guitar pickup is just straight to the output, I think. So if we put it in the middle position, which takes that away, that's with the tone knob, and you can see it's actually changed the tone even though I haven't touched the knob. But now I can roll it down if I wanted to. So again, here's just a comparison. The bright, super snappy, punchy, direct signal. And then here it is. Takes a little bit of the edge off of that, which is nice in and of itself. And then the neck pickup, I guess that's not the neck pickup. I guess that's
it's the neck position.
The neck position, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very dark. And again, there's our sound again. We're like, you can kind of get away with the darker tone out of a bridge pickup even.
Yeah.
But of course, Graham, you mentioned Jeff Beck. And I love Jeff Beck.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a rock. Just maybe do a bit more rock with it while we got it here. Let's see what else is good. Rock's pretty hard, and that was the bypassing the tone position, which I actually think that's what Van Halen's guitars had, if I'm not mistaken. Because his first one, because he didn't know how to make it work.
The Frankenstein.
So
he had a volume control, but no tone control. So yeah,
that's
pretty
right.
much
which is pretty much what this is,
yeah.
I believe. Right? We still have the we do still have the volume. So yeah, you can hear it. Like you get that extra bit of bite and punch just by going direct pass and bypassing the tone. I think it sounds really great on all three settings. Surprisingly lightweight too. I feel, anyways.
Yeah,
sounds great.
I think it's great that Squire has done something like this that's essentially like vintage correct. I mean, the original Esquires had that same switching configuration, which, a lot of modern players might not get it or whatever, but that's how you would buy that guitar brand new in 1951 or whenever it is that they came out. And so for, Fender's budget line to do something vintage correct like that, I think it's super cool. It's going to expose a whole lot of people to like the original format of the Esquire, which is the original format of the Telecaster, right? Yeah. It's just going to reach a much larger audience, and I think people are going to go into it not knowing the difference or not knowing any better and just make that work. I think that's awesome.
That's exactly it. And like we previously mentioned, just because it has one pickup doesn't mean you can't do a huge variety of sounds, as Mike clearly demonstrated. Tons of different tones on that thing, and it's a real mojo machine, I think. So yeah, thank you for showing us that, Mike. So within the Fender line, Fender also owns and distributes Gretch Guitars, which is the next one that we're going to see. Oh, you got it for me right there. Thank you, Justin. So their Gretch line is absolutely stunning. This is an ice blue metallic finish. This is the G2217. Couple really small things that I really love about this. The clear plastic gold speed knobs. And you may not be able to see it so well, but this pickguard, it's actually like a translucent tortoiseshell. Super cool.
Is.
Yeah, which you don't see very often, but it makes it a little bit more classy. If you flip it over as well, you got two-tone, which is also super cool. You got this dark neck here, and you got the the blue here, which you don't often see. Binding all around, binding neck, binding on the body here. It's got the Broadtron humbucking pickups, which are different than your typical, like what you would expect from like a Gibson or a typical humbucker. They're going to sound a little bit more plinky, a little bit more like mids focused, mids oriented. If you think like players like Chet Atkins, that's the kind of sound that you get from these style of pickups. Neck shape, a little bit different than what Fender and Squire has. As opposed to the modern C, this has actually got a U neck. So the U is going to feel a little bit different on the shoulder, on this part here. And the radius of the fretboard is different as well. This is a 12-inch radius on this fretboard. It does feature a compensated wraparound bridge. So put it all together and you get this rock and roll jet streamliner from Gretch. Let's hear what it sounds like.
All right, let's check this out.
Oh.
Good, good. So these, yeah, we got a master volume, master tone, so simplified switching compared to a lot of Gretch stuff.
Yes.
But definitely like a little more. That's the middle position. Here's the neck. It's like a little brighter. It still has the humbucker warmth, but like you said, a little.
You can hear that like mids punch.
Yeah, there's like a little. It's a little shaped, like maybe a bit more in like on the point of the attack, but. Tuned, but like there we go. But yeah, the still have that like humbucker warmth with maybe like a little more clarity to it, and then here's some middle pickup stuff. So still get like that bright quacky thing. But obviously with the humbuckers, and then so that's also like it's got kind of like a unique character, like compared to like maybe the Jaguar humbuckers or something, right? Like a little bit. It's like I don't want to compare it to the Jazzmaster pickups because it's not, but you know what I mean. It's got a little bit more of that sort of attack. Yeah, let's rock it out a bit. Rocks.
Whoa, that sounds good.
It sounds. It's like really focused in the right spot.
Yeah, I really feel it's kind of like more of an in-your-face kind of sound.
Oh yes.
Especially when it's distorted and bumped
yeah,
up.
like less of like the sizzly distortion. Sustain's great too, yeah. That's a cool, like, unique flavor of the rock.
It's got
thing,
attitude for
attitude
sure.
for sure, and it looks great. I like the U-neck a lot too. Feels great, and the double tone on the back is like so good.
So these streamliners are coming in at a very, very affordable price. I believe they're $489 is what they
really
at. $489, yep, for a beautiful instrument like that with all the binding and the beautiful finishes, 2 humbuckers. Amazing price for what you get.
Oh yeah.
Again, they're knocking it out of the park with these affordable models.
Absolutely.
Very nice.
What's next?
All right, we got another Gretch.
Hey.
Hey.
We got this guy right here. This is the Gretch G5628. This is the P90 variation. This is also a FSR. Now, What you get here is a semi-hollow Gretsch, very similar to, well, in the same ballpark as like a 335, right? An ES 335. You get a mostly hollow body with a maple center block. Now this is key if you want to play at high volumes, whether it's, you know, rock and roll or, you know, anything played loudly. The idea is that the pickups and the bridge and everything is mounted to the center block so that at high sound pressure levels, it's not going to start feeding back on you, which is very, very useful. Now what you get here is a tune-o-matic bridge. You get the V-tail piece, so again, very similar to what another company's got going on. Their name starts with G. But what they've done is they've differentiated it with this sort of like V-tail piece, which is really, really cool looking. And let's talk about these P90s. P90s are very different from other single coils. These are kind of, from a construction standpoint, a hybrid of a humbucker and a single coil. So they have a bar magnet underneath. They don't have like pull piece magnets like other Fenders. So the bar magnet sits underneath and then it's just a single coil of wire with these little screw heads pointing up. And what you get is the rawest, most savage, most awesome tone when it's distorted, and something really, really clear and throaty and mid-rangey when it's played clean. Elsewhere on the guitar, we have Gretsch's classic Alamo Inlays. If you all know what the Alamo is, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's what that is. Otherwise, they just look really cool. And also, check out the back. It's
Beautiful.
Mahogany.
Wow.
And the front is this cherry cola kind of color. It's two-tone. Fender, do more two-tone everything, please.
Matching headstocks, two-tone. Let's do it.
Matching headstocks, two-tone, and racing stripes.
Yep.
Three things.
Three things.
And yeah, so the other thing that I wanted to touch on too here is the control layout, and this confuses a lot of people, and rightly so. It's not your standard thing that you'd find on most guitars. Let's talk about this for a second. So up front, like with the other Gretsch guitar that we just saw, the blue one, Gretsch puts a master volume control right on the front horn, right? Just so you can easily grab it, I guess. And then back here, you have individual volumes for the pickups, so neck and the bridge, and then you have a master tone. Now the reason why they do this is because if you got a cool middle position tone going on where you got your, you know, your volume, your neck volume and your bridge volume kind of, you know, balanced the way you like it, then you can just get more or less of it with the master volume on here. So there you go. That's Gretsch knob layout in a nutshell. Let's hear what this sounds like.
Let's do it. Man, that back looks great, eh? Oh, man. Okay, so, whoa, that's why. Okay, so let's start with the neck pickup. Make sure everything's all the way up. Let's see. Yeah. It's worth noting, actually, this is distorting a little bit, even just straight in. This is at 5 like all the other ones were.
This is what we're talking about. See, these are single coils, but they are way more powerful than normal single coils.
Way hotter.
Yeah,
you can hear it and feel it, like for sure. If we dial it back, so there's there's the clean. That's beautiful. But yeah, that's you get a lot of range out of just that one setting. Okay, let's check out the middle, and maybe we'll do a little bit of the balancing we were just talking about. So there's both of them all the way up. Let's say you like that, like we were saying, you can just back the volume off to get the clean and not mess with the balance if you had a good balance, which is pretty useful. That sounds great. Maybe a little too much bridge. This is the bridge, I believe, right? Yeah. Oh no, it's a tone. Oh no, is that the bridge? There we guess that is. There's the bridge. So if we go back to the middle, I'll back the bridge off a bit. So let's say like, I don't know, 50% bridge, 100% neck. Compared to just neck.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So you can kind of fine tune it by bringing in like the character of the bridge pickup, which is obviously a little brighter and snappier. So let's check that out a bit on its own. Yeah, that rocks, and of course we have. Whoa, raging. Very cool.
I'm not sure if you mentioned it or not, but the chrome pickup covers look so cool.
Yeah, they do.
The two-tone, the matching heads, everything about it is just, it's so classy.
It's
such a classy instrument. This is a short run, right? This is one of
This, I believe, is an FSR that was done. Now, I don't know if it's exclusive to Long McQuade, but it is a limited run in the two-tone finish. But I also believe in the P90s. I haven't seen too many of the P90 models around,
Right.
And especially not in the fixed bridge configuration. So. There you go.
Right on. What's the price of this one, Dustin?
This one's $979. This is a lot of guitar to get for under $1,000.
Yeah,
like Gretch is probably some of the best value in all of Fender's brands, all of Fender's lineup. They have just ridiculous guitars available for not a whole lot of money. So definitely check this one out.
Actually, another thing I just noticed now doing this, for me, the measure of a good electric guitar, especially semi-hollows, is the liveliness of it when it's unplugged. And
yeah, the acoustic sound of it.
I do not know how much that's going to come through the mic, but it's very rich unplugged. Like, it does not have a plinky sound at all. It's pretty, very nice. So, yeah, this thing's also cool. Very
Amazing.
cool.
And I'm glad you mentioned the acoustics of that guitar, because not only do Fender do electric guitars, but they also do acoustics as well. And we're going to show off one of the Gretsch models of their acoustic guitar. Very, very popular model. It's the Jim Dandy. It is this little guy right here. This is a really cute, small parlor-shaped guitar. Really, really good for the fingerstyle player. You're going to get a lot of like focused, kind of mid-range acoustic sound from this, as opposed to like a dreadnought style where you get a lot of bottom end. It comes in at a super affordable price. This is only $239. It's really well made. It's got X bracing. It's got this beautiful vintage sunburst, 24 scale length, C-shaped neck, rosewood fretboard, and the top load has a compensated saddle as well, so that the intonation stays in tune. Again, a lot of guitar for not that much money. Mike, would you mind to demo this acoustic for us?
Let's check it out. That's something else I do for acoustic guitars. I like to check the dynamic range of an acoustic guitar every time I get one. Like, how quiet can we get to how loud can we get? And for a small body, this is pretty good. Like, obviously, like the bigger guitars are going to be louder, right? So this thing projects pretty well for its size. Yeah, let's check out maybe a bit of I don't know,
some finger picking kind of stuff. Yeah.
Great, very comfortable to play. It's good string spacing, which is important for the fingerstyle thing, right? Yeah. And how much did you say this was?
$239.
Yeah, not bad at all. Like this is pretty great for that price. Very convenient for the traveling guitarist as well.
Definitely. This is definitely the guitar that you would take to a cottage. You take it on a trip. Take it with you on a plane. It's small enough to fit almost anywhere, and at an affordable price, you don't really have to worry about it too much. So, great bang for buck again from Gretch.
Awesome.
What do we got next here, Justin?
Oh, hey there. You just caught me hanging out with my friend here. The Gretch G9110 concert ukulele. Everybody's hot for ukuleles these days. It's not hard to see why. These things are so small, so portable, and they're just so much fun. A lot of guitar players can get a little tripped up on it because it's pitched high, it's tuned slightly differently than a guitar, except that it's not. You kind of just have to think of this as like the top 4 strings of your guitar without the A and the D string, and then you kind of get your head around it. So this guy here is all mahogany build, mahogany neck, mahogany back and sides and top. This will be laminated mahogany construction at this price point. This is $189. It is beautifully made, especially considering how, like what the price point is on that. This has a cool design on the bridge, which I didn't notice. This has like a slotted kind of bridge, so it definitely makes it easier to restring these. Normally, you sort of have this flat bridge and you got to put the string through and then loop it back over itself and tie it off and this and that. Nothing like that here. You just tie a knot, you slot it in, boom, it's done. Now, for this price, this little ukulele also comes with a gig bag, which is super useful. I mean, ukuleles are built to travel, so it definitely helps getting something to sling it over your shoulder in right out of the box. Take it away, Mike.
Let's do it. You know what I realized? I own this one.
Oh,
no way.
Actually, this is my ukulele at home.
There's
actually.
a vote of confidence.
Yeah,
I think it's
just balanced, clean. Like sometimes, the ukulele, people think of it as a plinky instrument, but hopefully it's coming across that this one's just like... very warm, very balanced. Gets pretty loud. Yeah, that's why I own one. I like these a lot, actually. They're pretty great, cute little things. So there you go.
Yeah, and I don't know if you mentioned it, Justin, but one of the differences in this is it's a concert body shape. So it's a little bit different than the traditional soprano body. It's a bigger body shape. So basically, the bigger that the ukulele body shape gets, the closer it's going to sound to a guitar. This particular one is kind of like in the middle range, so it's got a little bit more bottom end than what you would expect from a traditional ukulele. Still sounds great, really fun to play, and again, affordable price with a gig bag.
Yeah, very
Definitely.
That's great. How can you not smile at that? It's warm and it's great.
I am
it's
smiling
a
at that.
ukulele, but it's a good ukulele.
Smiles all around.
Yeah, it's great. Awesome.
Cool.
What's next?
All right. So let's shift gears a little bit. We went to acoustic land. We heard some nice, plinky Hawaiian music. Let's get back to the metal, shall we?
Pedal to the metal.
Oh, yes, here it is. Look at this thing. Okay. Folks, it's time for Jackson. This is the JS42 Randy Rhodes Zirikote, or Zirikote. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I apologize. This is a Randy Rhodes Flying V. So you can tell because of the elongated top horn and the shortened bottom horn. If you guys don't know who Randy Rhodes is, I suggest you do your research. Normally, Flying Vs have 2 horns sticking out of equal size. Randy Rhodes, in his collaboration with Jackson, wisely chose to shorten that horn. It's just a little bit easier to manage, a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more fierce looking. This has a matte finished mahogany body. This is really interesting. This has a roasted maple neck. Now you're going to see this appearing on a lot more guitars these days. I want to say Ibanez was probably the first to market with baked maple necks on production guitars, and thankfully a lot of other companies are now starting to do this. This makes a huge difference. Maple necks are very bright and they're very snappy and they have a lot of definition. Baked maple brings out a slightly different character. I'm not even sure how to describe it. It's a little bit warmer. It's a little bit more. It definitely helps the stability of the wood, which is a great thing for Jacksons because the necks are so thin on Jacksons. These are shred machines, and nothing but. So to have a nice stable piece of maple like this really, really, really helps. What you have here on the top is Zirikote, or Zirikote, however you pronounce that. This is normally a decorative wood that you don't really find in large pieces like this, which is why this is kind of unique. To find a huge piece of this wood laminated on top, it doesn't do much for the tone, but it looks really, really cool. What you have here is a Floyd Rose system here, and you have Jackson's ceramic magnet high output pickups. Enough talking, more rocking. Here we go.
Let's put a.
Let's put the bar in.
Let's put the bar in first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the other thing with the Floyd Rose system.
Set the bar.
You have to set that bar. Here we go.
Let's do it. I haven't played one of these since I was 18. Oh man.
An honorable mention, we are playing this now through the EVH head, which we will talk about a little bit later.
Yeah, and this thing rocks, so let's see.
Oh, yeah.
Baby! All right, yeah, let's see what we got. That's what we want to hear from something like this,
exactly
right?
what you should be playing
But maybe we should check out the neck pickup too. Why not? Like it has one. And actually, the lead tones out of this sort of thing. Yeah, it's great. You get like the liquid, the violin lead, I guess people call that, right? But
Yeah.
It sounds great. Should we check it out with some cleans while we're at it?
Let's clean it up.
Cool. Okay, so interesting tuning, but I'm going to work with it. I like the weird stuff, but yeah, the clean channel on this actually sounds like. Pretty nice. Then you got the neck and middle together. You're into like some of the more modern progressive stuff. Yeah, there you go. A little bit of cleans on a Randy Rhodes V.
So a very cool guitar. And before you give that up there, Mike, I just want to mention that if you'll notice, Mike's being able to play that guitar sitting down quite comfortably.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes with the Flying V, because of the V shape, it's a little bit awkward to play sitting down. Because this Randy Rhodes style has the shorter V on the one side, it's actually a lot easier to play sitting down. So it's a great all-rounder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is, and it does. I didn't even notice, but you're right. Like it sits very comfortably if you're used to playing in classical position at all. I believe that's why he designed it this way. No,
I believe that was, yeah. Randy Rhodes was a classical guitarist first and foremost, before he joined Ozzy Osbourne's band in the 80s. So that, that was probably one of the design cues that he gave to Grover Jackson when they designed this, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense, because it sits, if you, like I said, if you play classical guitar, then this is like right at home for you. This is very, very similar. So yeah, great.
Yeah, exactly. So on the same note, we have another Jackson as well. So this one is similar to the other one, except not the V shape. This is a lacewood top, also with the baked maple neck, which is great. I love that they're doing the baked maple. It feels great. It's more stable, like Justin said. It looks great. One thing to note, like on the Rhodes, this actually has binding that goes all the way along the neck, which sometimes you don't typically see on something that's an affordable price like this one. Now, it's got, similar to the other one, the high output Jackson pickups here, Floyd Rose trem system, and then just the simple three-way switch here to go in between. So you can get all kinds of rock and roll tone, mahogany body, thin neck. This thing comes out of the box, ready to go, full flamethrower mode. Mike, do you want to toss some fire?
Let's do it. Trade you.
This
is the one you guys are going to have to rip out of my hands.
It should also be noted that these guitars come in well under $700. The Lacewood DK that was just handed off there was $629. The Jackson Randy Rhodes there is $699. So a lot of guitar for the money.
Yeah, awesome. All right, let's check it out. Awesome, that rocks. That sounds so good. One thing I like about this, though, is, which goes to the amp and the pickups, check this out. You can actually hear the third and a major chord, right? So that immediately brings me to like the Van Halen stuff, like this kind of distortion where it's super, super high gain, but you can actually play clear chords through it. Also, like it happened there just a second, like all that noise, if the pickup and the amp are voiced properly, all the extra little noises sound so good. But, alas, I must go to the neck pickup now because I would never leave the other one on my own. Go forever, yeah, it rocks.
Like you got sustained for days with that one.
Yeah, it sounds.
Mike, since I got you there with that guitar, I'm going to talk a little bit about the amp that you're playing through. So we're playing through the EVH 5153 head and going through an EVH 5150 cap. Now this head, just a pure rock and roll machine. It's 15 watts, which may not sound like a lot, but it's actually enough to play with a band. And actually, the lower wattage helps you because you can crank it. And you can get it at decent levels without blowing off your head. So really, really, really good dimed up. You're hearing it just there. It was on the red channel, which is the full burn channel. That's where you're going to get most of your distortion, your overdrive. You're going to kick it into high gear on that one. And then as he played with the previous guitar, the green channel on there is actually the clean. And you might be surprised with such a high gain amp, you can get some really, really beautiful, lush, clean tones from it. Just like that.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Now, not only that, but this head does have selectable impedance, so you can match it with cabs of your choice. It's got impedance that you can switch from 4 ohms to 8 ohms, 16 ohms. It's got adjustable bias control ports. It's got an effects loop. It's got a foot switch. This is powered by 2 EL84s and 412 AX7. The rectifier in there is solid state, so you're not going to hear any of that sag. But all in all, this comes under $1,000, just like the guitar. I think it's pretty amazing that you get such a high-quality product like this for $929.99. Absolutely amazing. Mike, would you mind to just give us a quick demo on the clean channel?
Yeah, let's do it. Also, I think it's worth noting, because you mentioned it, like, we actually have this quieter than the Champ, but we still got all that feedback and everything. Like, awesome, right? It's very reasonable volume, like, and of course it will get way, way louder, but like, yeah. It's like that big, warm, clean tone. Bridge pickup already. So it will crunch a little bit if you want.
There's a little bit of hair on the
if
clean,
you will,
but
yeah.
it's manageable.
Well, that can be a good thing too, because I think a lot of people think that amps like this, you can't get some of those more vintagey distortion levels out of it, because obviously they're wired to, you know, rip your face off. But you can a lot of the time on the clean channel. You can push it and get like a really nice. It feels weird doing this on a Jackson, but. Sounds great, yeah.
But yeah, I think you've totally nailed it on the head there, that you're still able to get those like vintage style tones out of something that you may not expect it from, with it still being that huge like screaming rock and roll metal high gain machine. Awesome that you have like a 2-in-1 amp almost.
Yeah. Definitely. And the other thing too to keep in mind about amps like this, now this is a lunchbox head, right? Which we know these things have been out for probably the better part of, I want to say, a decade or two.
Been out for a while.
Yeah, so the lunchbox head, you know, 15 to 25, maybe 30 watts. It's more than enough power to gig with and to jam with and everything like that. I mean, most gigs you're going to be mic'd up anyways. There's going to be a microphone on your cabinet, on your speakers or whatever. You don't need to be powering this huge wall of sound out into the audience. It's totally cool. I mean, we're all gigging guys here. I mean, when was the last time you turned a twin up above 1?
Never.
You know what I mean? Like never. It never happens, right? Unless you own like a barn up north or something, then you can let her rip. But lunchbox heads like this are totally awesome because they let you play at bedroom levels, but they're also still giggable.
Yeah, it gives you the experience of playing like a huge high volume amp without having to like rock your house or like disturb your neighbors or anything like that. So just a really cool design, really smart, and I think a perfect addition to the everyday musician. Definitely. So that pretty much brings us to the end. I know you wanted it to go on forever, so did we, but alas, we must go. So thank you so much to everybody here. Thank you to Fender for supplying us with these great products that we can showcase for you. We took a look at some Fender stuff, some Squire stuff, Jackson, Charvel, EVH, and Gretch. All of these are going to be part of our Fender Month promotion at all of our stores and online. Just to recap that, we are looking at 12 months, 0% financing on any purchase, any Fender purchase above $1,000, and 6 months, 0% financing on any Fender purchase under $1,000. We also have 2 contests going on. So we have the Fender Face-Off contest, where basically you vote on which guitar is your favorite. We'll be pitting 2 guitars against each other every week. We'll see who goes through to the final round. Make sure you get your votes in. That's how you get the chance to win. The second contest is arguably the simplest contest in the history of the world. You send us history of the world.
You send us your name. You send us the address of the closest Long McQuade to you. You send it to fender21@long-mcquade.com. You're entered to win a Fender ToneMaster Deluxe Reverb. This is a super cool amp. Unfortunately, we don't have one today, but head down to your local Long McQuade and check that out. It could be yours for free if you enter. So thanks again. Graham here, my man Mike in the corner. Also, big shout out to the man behind the scenes, Matt Durant, the guy who's making us look good. Thank you so much, Matt. And stay safe, everybody. Cheers.
Until next time.